Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, you know I love a good DIY, and this is today's one. Now, this might seem daunting, but I promise you, this is definitely something that you can do. So, I use a couple of things to help me out. One is going to be this punch. This is purely a guide sort of tool, I guess, that we're creating. If you have a circle die or a punch, this one is the 1 1/4 punch. And you're going to need a black fine liner pen. Again, this is just what I use. You'll be able to find something in your stash that can help, because we are going to be creating some cute little birdies today, but DIY style, of course. And so I am using the circle guide to draw around. Now, you might already have something you can draw around. You could draw around like the inside of a sellotape roll or something like that, or the lid of a glue stick or something like that you could draw around. I'm going to draw around almost all of it, except we're going to leave room for the tail. Now, this is just going to be I just estimate, just a little bit we leave open. And if you close it up, it also doesn't matter because, there are no rules. This is DIY style. So this is where I'm going to pop his little tail on. I just do some feathers, nothing fancy. And this is just a more sort of whimsical, happy style little birdie. This is a make-believe version, so you can make it exactly as you want to. That includes colors, textures, and you can play around with this one and take it as far as you like. There are so many options. I'll show you a few today, but of course, the world is your oyster. You can go for gold with this one. Lots of fun things that you could do to these little guys. I'm going to do some extra long legs, draw them in, draw some little feet, and we are good to go with the base of our birdies here. So I've got mine facing each other. You could have 3 going along. I plan to die cut this eventually. So 2 was just going to be my focal point. But if I do it on a piece of cardstock first, then I can cut it out later and center it all up then. I'm going to use some, these happen to be the Altenew watercolor markers. They have a fine liner on one end and like a brush on the other. It's like the solid brush, not the bristles brush, which I really like. And then I am using, I can't remember if I said, these are the Holtz watercolor cardstock. I'm using the smooth side. So these spread really nicely. They move around with a paintbrush and some water. I've got a little bit of water on an acrylic block, and I'm just moving the color around. I've chosen a couple of colors, a blue, like a turquoise and a blue for the one on the right, and then a yellow and an orange for the left. No real reason. These colors contrast nicely. That means they are more opposite from each other than beside each other. For example, the orange and the blue are going to be more opposite each other, and so they contrast nicely, which means they work well side by side. They're not going to mix nicely together, but they do work well side by side. So a nice orangey yellow bird there that I can blend into each other. I'm going to do a couple of little sort of add-ons to these birds, but of course at this point you could do some stamping, and then I'll show you how you can make that really neat and tidy in a minute. But first of all, I'm going to add on a few other bits and pieces. So this is a Stamperia paper pad. This one is called Old Lace, and to make life a whole lot easier, I'm just going to find what I want in here, which is like a little bit of text or something, and use the punch to punch it out. And then this is going to create the belly of a couple of the birds. Again, using the punch makes it really easy because I've kept the circular shape and I don't have to guess. So just use my scissors to trim how much I want at the top, and then the bottom is of course going to flow nicely because it's done with the punch. Now, if you like this sort of DIY style and making the most of the supplies that we've got, I actually have an entire website that is kind of focused on that. So it is natashafootecreative.com. I have a QR code up in the top left-hand corner here, which you can use to take you to the website, or you can find the link will be down below in the description box. And I have a whole video year-long series this year called the Year of Geometrics, and it's about making the most of the supplies that we have, using them in as many different ways as possible and getting great value for money, of course. Last year I did the alphabet. I did the A to Z of the alphabet and did a whole card, a year-long series on that. So that one is also there. When you sign up, you get the entire website, all of the videos. There are even classes on there that you can sign up for, which have 6 to 8 videos that walk you through, again, how to make the most of what you already have. So the supplies that you already have. So if you would like to go and see that, it's natashafootecreative.com, and you can check out the link. Will be in the description box below. Okay, we have grounded these little birdies. We've put some brown down, and again, I just spread it out with a little bit of water, and it's a really, really simple, just an easy version. This is probably not my forte, making beautiful backgrounds, but even I can do this, and I feel like we get a pretty passable rate. I like the look of these guys. I like that they're whimsical. I can do as I please. There's no rules, and nothing has to be too specific. So this is my kind of creating. I've used a little paper pad there just to find some matching-ish colours with a little bit of texture. And these are going to be the birdie's little wings. And as I said, you can go for gold at this point with adding in textures. And I mean, who's to say that you can't do some little feathers, or even if you cut some paper, you know, if you shredded some paper to look like the little feathers, or use those scissors that have the multi-cuts on them. Lots of fun options out there. I've just popped these down with a little bit of glue, and then I'm going to do some stamping on top of these. Again, because we use that circular shape, this makes life 10 times easier. So this little Sending Sunshine set from Creative Expressions has, A, this is one of my favorite sets ever, but B, it has all the things you need. It has the focal points, it has the sentiments, and it has the textures. That's like a 3-in-1. And then you just use your template as like a mask. And then that way you can keep your stamping directly onto your image, which in this case is the bird that we created. And so I'm just going to use some texture. These are some like splattery dots. And by all means, you could do this with any stamp. I'm sure if you go through your stamp sets, usually they have like a little, they have some fillers and things that you can use, and often it will be little hearts or little stars or little dots or little splatter, something like that, so you can use those. I'm using this crackle one to create a bit more texture on the grounding surface there, and then making sure to fill in their little beaks because I nearly forgot. And then it comes to making this into a card. I also nearly forgot to put the black fine liner. I always put it around the tummy, and I put it around the wings of the bird just to make that really cohesive look. So if I've done it for the body, I want to make sure I continue that through for all of the other aspects. Right, now let's get this sorted into a card. I have got the decal edge rectangles. Anything with a little bit of something. You could do absolutely plain, but I have really been leaning in towards something with a stitched edge, something with corners. You could even just cut the corners off yourself. Anything with these decal edges, something just with a little bit of interest. And then, as for the sentiment, as far as that goes, I'm going to use the Blessings of Spring. Now, this was actually a free incentive set that I got from Gina K. And I think this one works really nicely just because there's 2 little birdies. So the Hello Friend works perfect at the top. Plain black, nice VersaFine Onyx black ink. Stamps beautifully. I even used a stamping an acrylic block, which is risky at this point because, you know, we're at the end of our card. I did cut out a matting layer. Now, I had a little pickle with my glue, and I was cleaning out the lid and forgot to screw the lid back on, and then used it, and of course glue came out everywhere. But that's okay, it didn't ruin the project, thankfully, and we can carry on. This one I popped on a black matting layer and then onto a white 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card base. Popped some foam tape because it's got no dimension other than this part here. And you could add some little faux splatter or something around the edges here, but I'm happy with this as is. So I hope that you've enjoyed this DIY cute little birdie project, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Don't forget to check out the links to everything down below. I have the products down there, my website, and my snail mail address. And other than that, I'll see you next time. Bye!